activists, and we're here to talk about how, in general, we can work together more to increase our impact and effectiveness as environmental and energy-oriented activists to try to get more things done. So I'm just going to start by introducing this panel. I'm just meeting some of these people for the first time, so I have to use a little bit of a cheat sheet. I hope you'll excuse me. I'm just going to go down the line. Here to my right is David Klein, who has more than 30 years in energy policy analysis. He did 22 years at NREL, and now he's volunteering extensively with the Citizens Climate Lobby, which we'll find out more about later. And let's see, Vicki, I have your little cheat sheet right here. Vicki Patton serves as a general counsel at the Environmental Defense Fund. She's been involved in numerous rulemakings under the Clean Air Act and associated cases, including successful cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. She's received many awards for her work and has a lot of experience to share with us. John Bernhardt here is the Outreach Director for the Clean Coalition, and he's been working on energy and environmental policy for more than a decade, and particularly in the electric utility sector, with focus on forward-thinking utility programs that to encourage the more deployment of solar. So that's going to be really interesting to hear about too. In the middle here is my friend and colleague Nick Perugini, who's a solar consultant and advisor specializing in commercial, industrial, and utility-scale solar development. He's also the president of New Energy Colorado and on the board of directors of the Colorado Solar Energy Industries Association, COSIA. So Nick has got a lot of experience both in activism and project development. Next we have in the beautiful yellow dress Jessica Scott, who's the Interior West Director for Vogue Solar, where she works on solar policy in Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Nevada. Previously, she worked at the Denver's Mayor's Office of Sustainability and the Denver Department of Environmental Health, among other things. I'm truncating everybody's bios because they're so long and full of interesting things. And here we have Leslie Glustrom, who's an amazing activist throughout. Everybody who's anybody in Colorado knows Leslie. She's a founding member of Clean Energy Action and represents a lot of us in front of the PUC very regularly. So the PUC knows Leslie really well. Founder of Clean Energy Action and is also on their board of directors and very active in clean energy issues locally and at the state and national level. And down at the end, sorry, we have Jerry, you'll have to forgive me, I might mess your name up. Jerry Tiniano?
Whatever it is.
Okay,
What makes you think I know?
Okay, close enough. Tiniano, okay, excuse me. As the Denver's Chief Sustainability Officer, and previously served as the National Officer for the Sierra Club and the National Audubon Society, and has also practiced law for over 2 decades in Ohio. Sierra Club designated him an environmental hero during its centennial celebration, so it's good to have a hero here. All right, so quite a lineup, stellar group here, and I think we should start just by going down the line and have everybody tell a little bit about what their organization that they're here representing does or organizations, and what your role in that would be. So,
the power of influence. Our power of influence is diminished when we have these numerous like-minded organizations with lots of members that aren't pooled. So our power of influence is the biggest thing we're seeing.
What I think is one of the things that limits our effectiveness the most is that our tent is smaller than it should be. In the sense that, we speak primarily,
For years working in Nevada, the PUC shut down the solar market in 2015, and this amazing coalition, rose up to demand that that be fixed. And so what happened? We passed 11 clean energy bills out of the legislature.
Addressing sort of these issues through the lens of all of those much broader set of values, liberty, right, and freedom. When you think about solar, jobs, extraordinary, amounts of jobs and economic benefits and shared prosperity, clean air and justice for a number of, how do we sort of broaden our influence and broaden our reach by transcending kind of the value divide and also the pain in parts of the country that don't feel like, we're aligned with them and partners with them. The language in DC right now is energy dominance, right? That's how Rick Perry's talking about this multi-billion-dollar folly to, subsidize and build out coal plants on the backs of American families and businesses. What's the muscular language and the shared language to broaden the influence and reach a broader audience? In a world divided by, just bitterly divided by different values.
Yeah, I think one interesting example, some folks might be aware of this, is what happened in Georgia a couple of years ago with the Green Tea Coalition, essentially the Tea Party and Sierra Club, groups that oftentimes don't really see eye to eye on a lot of issues. But I think one issue that has kind of been alluded to here a lot is the energy system is one of just pure monopoly dominance. And that's something that I think, as well as solar polls, monopolies poll equally as poorly. People do not really like monopolies, and that kind of spans people on both sides of the aisle. And I think we're at a really interesting point if we can form relationships and reach out to folks who kind of are against just ridiculous monopoly control, lack of customer choice, consumer choice, and options. That you can really kind of maybe create some space and some opportunity to engage with either individuals or citizens that generally haven't really thought about clean energy. And honestly, that may not be what their interest is, but we're also at kind of a tipping point in which renewables really are cost effective in the core.
As part of Xcel's recent proposal about possibly retiring some coal plants, replacing it with wind, solar, and unfortunately natural gas, they did a poll, and it became public, which is great because a lot of us can't afford to actually do that. It's pocket change to Xcel. But when they did their poll, they found that, I might be off by a couple percentage, but they found that 42% of the people in their poll gave President Trump a favorable rating. That was, okay, there we go, we're in Colorado, I get it. I gave a talk in a county that was 62% Trump a couple weeks ago. But in that same poll, 90% of the people supported more clean energy. So when you go forth, be confident that you got a 9 in 10 chance if you use the right kind of approach, like Jerry has talked about, and everybody else, where you just find that common ground and work with them and recognize that we are very united in wanting to move forward on clean energy. So carry that confidence. Don't be thinking, oh, they're a Trump supporter. You got to find the right language. But, and I'll talk about that in a second, and a lot of people have talked about it. Second is teamwork. We find that it's absolutely critical to have teamwork. And if you think about kids who first play soccer, they kind of do the swarm soccer thing. Everybody, there's the ball, everybody wants to kick it. And as they grow older, they learn, oh, I'm supposed to be on the right, and Charlie's on the left, and however, and so as we work together, sometimes it's frustrating because you feel like, oh, I wish everybody was kind of with me swarming around this particular ball that I care about. But if we can learn that it's teamwork and that you show up when you can. When Jessica calls me in the next couple of years and says, Leslie, we're going down to the commission, or we're doing this, or we're doing that, we're going to do the very best to be there to support them, even though I'm not there hanging on Jessica's shoulder every single day. And I would say, frankly, that the new groups that are coming up in Colorado are really good at this collaboration and teamwork. I will say that some of the old guard groups are really, frankly, bad at it. And we may or may not go deeper into that conversation today, but I got a partner who is ready. So, you know, as just if you can support that concept of collaboration and teamwork. And then the final is monopoly. It's very important to remember that, especially in the electricity sphere. We are in Colorado dealing with a monopoly. We don't have competition, many other states do.
But the other one I think needs a good hard look is, you know, the Sunviva case that is moving its way, what's kind of almost about to come out of the International Trade Commission and go to the President's desk. This could be an opportunity at the White House in Colorado. Both of our senators, Democrat and Republican, have weighed in on urging the President not to set a light tariff on solar panels. But at the end of the day, if it happens, it may require a legislative solution. And that's one, judging by what I see in Colorado, where a Democrat and Republican have got together and take the same position, there might be a possibility of overriding whatever the White House does with a legislative solution. It's certainly something we should
Good ideas at every level of government. We also want to, in all of the work that we're doing together in our communities at the state level and nationally, to broaden the tent. So there's a young congressman out of Miami, Crivello, who has forged a climate caucus that is about bringing on board Republicans and Democrats together to support climate action. And a tremendous number of people are working together to try to advance that. One of the great stories and one of the great lessons that's coming out of Colorado that has for years is that the solutions have long been bipartisan. And in a country where there are deep divides and where you can see that in intense, really distressing ways in other parts of the country, in Colorado there's been a long tradition of people finding bipartisan solutions. And so, you know, that's good news. There has been some sweeping legislation that was just enacted in California to drive down carbon on an economic basis. It is also paired with transformation of the energy sector, driving the energy sector to renewables, and transformation of cars and motorcycles, driving those to zero-emitting technologies. And think about sort of policy and solutions that do both, and how you get this. Tell the president that he's going to kill 100,000 jobs across America if he grants that petition, if he acts on that. Think about the impact that Republican Senator Grassley had in pushing back on the attack on wind, right, by speaking up from the heartland of America in Iowa. The next big, huge threat is on a rocket docket. It is Rick Perry's effort to provide a multi-billion-dollar bailout to existing coal plants by distorting the global power market. It's a matter that is now, he's referred to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. They have set October 23rd as the deadline for initial comments. Rebuttal comments are due November 7th. It is absolutely critical that people submit comments to that docket and tell the story about how solar has provided resiliency and reliability for Americans, and push back on the very seriously flawed claim that coal is foundational to our grid and necessary for reliable power. This would be incredibly disruptive to the transition that's happening to renewable energy. And the third is that not only are they trying to distort the market in favor of coal and fossil fuels, but they're also trying to remove their duty, their responsibility to address their pollution. And just in the last couple of days, Scott Pruitt, who said EPA proposed to repeal the Clean Power Plan, our nation's only nationwide limit on carbon pollution from existing coal plants. There will be a 60-day comment period. They're going to do everything they can to both distort the market, tilt the market towards fossil, towards coal, and to do everything they can to eliminate their responsibility to address the pollution that harms the health of our children, our families, and our communities. We're going to need everyone to push back on those policies. We're going to be doing all of the innovative work at the city and state level to drive progress. The pace of progress matters, and these things don't stop just because we think they're bad ideas. They stop because we all work together and partner together, roll up our sleeves, and fight for a vision that we believe in. What are the dates again?
Biggest threat to us right now, that's immediate. And I think that many of our like-minded organizations, we're often fighting a little bit on the local level, the city councils and swaying and education, and then we're in the PUC or in the legislature here trying to struggle to get things passed. About as a success story, and then a big threat moves. And we've got this progress, even John says the price, definitely the price on the large scale solar projects is less than fossil fuels. So we're winning, and now we want to change the game. And unfortunately, I think many of us have been in this reactive rather than proactive mode on so many issues, both locally and nationally. It's when something big comes to confront us that's when we can get everyone mobilized. The rug was pulled out from Nevada. The people got angry to swing the pendulum the other way. How do we stay proactive and with all the voices that we have in a nonpartisan, jobs, economic way? I mean, this is the argument across the aisles.